Broadcasting live across the southern plains. From the tornado bunker in the McRoof World Headquarters, the McRoof Radio Network brings you home repair McRoof style. I'm Rick Allen Lippert, here with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCollum.
Hey, good morning, man.
Good morning. Did you have a good Father's Day last week?
Did have. Great Father's Day.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Retro Radio Randy is the wizard on the other side of the curtain.
Hello, Southern Plains.
Now, did you have a good Father's Day last week?
I had an excellent Father's Day last week. It was very quiet, and we're actually going to do the family celebration tomorrow.
Oh, well, very good.
Yeah.
Now, Randy, do you promise to answer the phone when people call 405-656-5868?
I solemnly promise I will press all the buttons to the best of my ability.
Has he got his hand raised?
He does.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
All right. He's sworn in.
Yeah, that's right. Act one of the show today will start, as usual, with our trivia question and the tool of the week, which is posted on the Home Repair McRoof Style Facebook page. Hey, why don't you like us while you're there?
And the trivia question's a gimme. So,
Yeah, boy, it ought to be.
It better be.
Man. And as always, we're taking your home repair questions. That number again, 405-656-5868. And McRoof.us meteorologist Dion Markham will have our Southern Plains weather this week, right,
Yes.
Dion?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Now, did you call your dad? I know he's
Yes.
not here in town with you.
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right, good for you. You can stay then. In Act 2 of the show, we'll have our What Were They Thinking segment. Scott, the title of this week's show, a story.
Well, Myrtle, let's take a drive through the valley, and I'll show you what's going on.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That Myrtle.
Yeah.
Then in Act 3, we'll have our After the Storm tip, and we'll wrap up with some very wise words from Scott's dad. And coming back from breaks, some really obscure historical trivia for you today. The McRoof Radio Network includes KOKC in Oklahoma City, KNSS in Wichita, and KALV in Alva. You can also hear us on the iHeart Radio and Odyssey apps, and we are live streaming the show on the Home Repair McRoof Style YouTube channel. And while you're there, you can subscribe, and that way you'll always know when we are live. And wherever you are, you can call us at 405-656-5868. And I have to tell you folks that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Kansas registration number 22-008700 and Oklahoma registration number 80000002. Registrations apply to residential and commercial roofing in both states. Okay, now that we have all the legality stuff out of the way, let's get on with the show, shall we?
We shall.
Scott, let's do our trivia question.
Okay, here we go. So the most accurate claims for shingle weight come from what manufacturer?
I wonder what manufacturer that could be.
I cannot imagine.
As you say, this one is a gimme. Folks, if you ever wanted to hear yourself be right on the radio, this is the time to call us right now.
Yeah, I think if you've ever listened to this show more than one time, you would have to know the answer to those questions.
Gosh, I would certainly hope so. 405-656-5868. And because you tossed the tool of the week to me,
Yeah.
I just happened to have had a conversation yesterday evening with my friend Ben Hall
Okay.
about last week's tool of the week.
Okay.
And in fact, the question just came up. Hey, have you picked your tool of the week this week? And I said, no, Scott's been doing that, but I did take it last week, and I chose a wire stripper because I need one for my little tiny RV, and I thought, I'll get a wire stripper. Well, he then proceeded to tell me about a better wire stripper.
Oh, okay.
And not only is it better, it's about 3 times more expensive. But I mean, last week's was only $14.
You mean so we're having recalls on tools of the week now on the McRoof Radio Network?
Well, we're expanding our toolkit.
Okay, all right.
We're building the
We'll
toolkit.
start doing good, better, best on everything.
There you go. So this is Ben Hall. This one's for you. And Ben Hall is a handyman. To call him a handyman is to do him an injustice.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy builds great sets for film and theater productions. He remodels houses. He's done a lot of the work at the Carpenter Square Theater renovation. And this is his favorite wire stripper. It is the Ideal brand Kinetic Reflex T-Stripper. And it does both solid and stranded, and the gauges are all listed on the website. I don't want to go into all of that now. Only $34, which sounds like a lot for a hand
A
tool.
wire stripper, yeah.
But some of the things, I even watched the video on this one. This is really cool. In addition to being made in America, this one has a spring on it so that it's easier on your hands. It's very ergonomically designed, and it has a thumb lock on it. So when you find that sweet spot where you want to strip, you can put the thumb lock on it, and then it just makes the job easier.
Yeah.
And it has a little measuring thing on the handle for both millimeter and an American measurement, so you know if you need to strip it 3/4 of an inch or 11 millimeters. It's just, I mean, this is
Wow.
a
3/4 inch wire stripper.
well,
That's
if you know,
big one.
strip the wire back 3/4 of an inch from the end.
I got you. Okay.
And the sucker, I think, even has a built-in bolt cutter for a couple of different sizes.
Oh, my God.
Commonly used bolts. I mean, this is, so it's worth $34, and you get it at the blue big box store. It may be at the orange one. I don't know. I didn't
And the
look.
manufacturer on that is
It's called
Ideal?
Ideal, and they make a range of different wire strippers. This is, as they say in the video, they're top of the line. So that's it. 405-656-5868 is the number to call if you think you know what manufacturer is the most reliable, most accurate in claiming shingle weight. Okay, so the most accurate claims for shingle weight come from what manufacturer? Give you a little hint.
Well, we like a little integrity in business, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
that's right.
once we get our answer to this, I'm gonna give some people some other folks' claims that
Okay.
were not nearly as accurate. I'm not gonna name them by name,
Okay.
but I will tell them that they are not manufactured by the company whose name we're looking for right now.
Okay.
So, okay.
Very good.
All right.
All right. So I'll tell you what, while we're waiting for the phone to ring, let's take a look outside and see what the weather is like.
This is McRoof.us staff meteorologist Dion Markham bringing you Southern Plains weather this week. It will be a scorcher today as highs are going to be over 100. And then we cool down into the mid-80s for most of the Southern Plains with partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies with a slight chance of storms through the week. Have a great week, Southern Plains, and stay safe.
Now, what's a slight chance?
20 to 30% chance
For most of the week?
for most of the week.
Really?
Oh, don't want to hear that. The cooler weather, I'm all for.
And it's summertime now.
Cooler weather is great.
And
Phenomenal.
we have
Thank you, Dion.
You're
we
welcome.
have a caller on the line. Kurt, you want a shot at the trivia question? Hello, Kurt.
Yeah, you there?
Yeah. So just for folks who may have just tuned in, the most accurate claims for shingle weight come from what manufacturer?
I think it might be Certainty.
You,
Ding,
you think it might be right?
Way to go, Kurt. Way to go, buddy. Where are you calling from? You're calling from Kansas, aren't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, around, with a little, not right in Wichita, but a little town outside of Wichita.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Kurt, we appreciate you calling. Stay on the line, and Retro Radio Randy's going to get some information from you. Okay, buddy?
We're going to send you a book.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Thank you, Kurt. Yeah. Take care.
So Kurt took care of that just like we expected somebody to do.
Yeah.
You know, got the answer right. So
Sure.
I had some interesting information here.
Yeah. You have some commentary.
So we had a an analysis of weight of 7 shingle brands.
Okay.
And it's really funny how inaccurate most of, and this is something nowadays, folks, used to shingles were labeled by weight, okay, to where you
Right.
knew what the weight of us. Manufacturers don't do that anymore. You have to go hunt and peck and look for
Okay.
that information.
All right.
Okay. Here's a manufacturer that claimed 260 pounds per square, a square 10 foot by 10 foot.
Right.
Okay. Shingle weighed 188.4 pounds.
They claim 260.
260. The
And it was-
shingle weighed 188.4. Okay. Here's one that claimed 260. The shingle weighed 220.5.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Here's one that claimed 245, weighed in at 224.
Okay. A little
Okay. Closer. Now here's one that actually made a claim of 225 and weighed in at 239.
Uh-oh.
Now that was not certainty, but that's a great thing to see
Sure.
that, okay? In business, we kind of like people to do or exceed whatever it is their
Right.
claims or what they're saying they're going to do, okay? Here's a big miss. Here's one that weighed in at 244 pounds. The claim was 290 pounds.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, Certainteed, I have to give them some credit. They gave you a range of weights for a particular shingle brand.
Okay.
In this particular case, it was the Landmark shingles, and they stated a range.
And you use a lot of Landmark.
No, because Landmark is not the IR
Oh,
platform.
okay,
remember?
all right, that's
so
right.
used to, we used a ton of Landmark IR.
IR, yeah.
Before they discontinued that and went to the Climate Flex, the modified SBS
Okay,
technology.
all
So
right.
we don't use a lot of Landmark.
Okay.
Landmark in our world would be considered our starter shingle because
Okay.
we don't do 3 tabs or anything below
Okay,
that. So,
all right.
so for Landmark, Certainteed stated a range from 229 pounds to 240 pounds, okay? These folks, in doing the weigh-in and all, actually came up with 233.1 pounds, so squarely in the range
Right.
for what Certainteed stated. Their comment was, if integrity is a thing for you, that this is really a company. And when you look at Certainteed, quality made certain, manufacturer guaranteed, what the testing people did, or what they said, is that this shows the degree to which they control their manufacturing process and the content of their shingles when something falls squarely in the range that
Right,
they've stated.
right.
So that's, there's a lot of other factors other than just weight. And we can go into some of that after we take a break, but typically people think of weight as being the more a shingle weighs, the more asphalt I've got between me and everything Mother Nature can bring.
Right.
Has got to be a good thing. Okay?
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay.
And with that, we'll take our first break. We'll be back with Act 2 in just a few minutes. I want to remind everybody you're listening to Home Repair McRoof Style on the McRoof Radio Network. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's Restoration Specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. Retro Radio Randy on the other side of the glass, taking your calls to 405-656-5868. Hey, do you have a home repair project that has you bumfuzzled? Give us a call. This is the McRoof Radio Network.
Folks, Brad's Heat and Air has been serving the greater metro for almost 40 years. They install and service all brands of heating and air conditioning equipment, and they're a certified American Standard dealer. But you may not have known that Brad's also installs April Air Central Air Cleaners as part of your home's central HVAC system. If you're tired of seeing the dust around the house minutes after you've cleaned, if you've got pet dander or pollen, your allergies are killing you, you ought to give Brad a call and talk to him about that April Air system. You'll end up with a healthier home environment with less dander, less smoke, less pollen, mold, dust mites. In other words, you'll breathe easier. Call Brad's Heat and Air at 405-799-7823. 405-799-7823, or visit them online at bradsheatandair.com. Tell them Dion and Rick sent you.
Hey, Scott, I have folks tell me all the time that they can't find anybody out there to inspect their roof or to just fix a leak. You started Roof RX to remedy that issue, didn't you?
Well, I did. Roofers are in the business to replace roofs. They're not in the business to inspect, repair, or maintain them.
So what's so different about Roof RX then?
Well, Roof RX is a standalone company totally separate from McRoof. The inspectors are trained professionals armed with knowledge and technology. They are not roofing salespeople. Our repairs are guaranteed for life, and we offer a money-back guarantee.
Wow, that sounds great, but I'll bet you're booked up for months out.
No, sir, we're generally no more than a week or so out, and of course we get on emergencies a whole lot faster than that. Get on our list by calling Carly at 405-877-ROOF or online at roof-rx.com. Hey, Rick, this is something that Roof RX is really proud of. This is our presentation of a Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctor. The Daylight Doctor's prescription for your dark home.
Ooh.
Okay, our Solitude daylighting systems bring pure natural light to brighten even the darkest spaces, and for a fraction of the cost of a traditional skylight. We can install your Solitude daylighting system in about 2 hours. That's right. We can prescribe and cure your home in about 2 hours. The Daylight Doctor can remedy your dark kitchen, those bathrooms or hallways. Take advantage of the 26% solar tax credit and save today. Visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483 to schedule your free house call. House call. Again.
From a doctor.
From a doctor. Visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483 and get the prescription and cure today.
Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy was the pilot of a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy. November 11, 1943, Homer and his crew, along with 31 other bombers, flew a mission to destroy a ball bearing plant in occupied France. On the return trip, a mechanical failure caused the plane to drop out of formation, leaving the Yankee Doodle Dandy vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109 shot the plane down near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board. The others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 21 years of service with numerous awards and citations, not to mention the Purple Heart. Homer Stacy. Homer Stacy McCullum. Scott McCullum's dad. Scott McCullum is McRoof. McRoof is owned and operated by the McCullum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to improve or repair your property, call 855-766-3405. Ask for a no-cost roof assessment and home inspection. That's McRoof, 855-766-3405. That's McRoof.
And Home Repair McRoof Style back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. Hey, here's some interesting, obscure historical trivia. How many of you folks like to eat with a fork? Have you ever given any thought to when that fork first was introduced in the U.S.?
Nope.
Well, you've heard of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, perhaps. 1630, Governor, I think it's James Winthrop. Anyway, he brought some Puritans over from England. He emigrated, and he brought the fork with him.
Okay.
So on this date, in 1630, the fork was introduced into the New World. 1867, the first barbed wire was patented in Ohio. And 1868, U.S. President Andrew Johnson signed the bill that gave government workers an 8-hour workday.
There you go.
1868. And then 1876 on this date, Custer's Last Stand.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, are you a Western buff? I mean, you kind of.
Yeah.
I tell you what, barbed wire. Created lots of issues.
A lot of issues. Yeah.
In the West.
There were a lot of shots fired over barbed wire.
Yes, there were.
Yeah.
Yes, there were.
I even read a headline the other day. I didn't read the story that it's barbed wire is seeing its end.
Really?
Now I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read the article, so I don't know what that really means. Unless they're planning on putting, you know how you the invisible fence. You keep dogs in the yard,
Right.
Unless they're going to do that.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It probably has something to do with the electrical, with the electric fences and things like that. I don't know. Maybe not.
I don't know. They're going to put a
maybe there's
GPS tractor in every head of cattle out there.
Well, when they are vaccinating, inoculating, doing everything they do, man, they could just, I'm sure.
Well, if I'm Bill Gates, I'm sure has the little microscopic, nanobot that they can
included in the vaccine, right?
Okay, so Scott, you had a pretty busy week this past week.
Well, we did have. We had a lot of stuff going on. So I had adjuster appointments up north of the Oklahoma border.
Right.
So that took part of my week. Man, it was hot.
Yeah.
And actually, it wasn't. It really wasn't nearly as hot as it has been or had been in Kansas the week or so before that.
Right.
I was up there a couple days that were in the mid 80s, but it was humid, sticky kind of,
Right.
But anyway, so that was, I had that going on. We had, Dion was down here doing a bunch of stuff for me that I've asked him to do. One of the things that Dion's really good at is creating these little videos.
Right, I've seen them.
Doing some of the social stuff and creating some videos for the websites and Facebook and things like that. But what I had asked him to do is start creating videos for all three companies.
Right.
Creating videos for McRoof and for Roof RX and for the Daylight Doctor.
Yeah.
And he'll go out and he'll do one video, for instance, on a McRoof job.
Mm-hmm.
And in my looking at and viewing that video, I see 8 or 10 other videos that will now come out of that. In other words, he's doing something that kind of is a macro or an overview.
Right.
And now I want to get down. He had one that showed them tearing off shingles. Okay, well, you do a video that talks about clean deck. Okay.
Right.
And then he had one that showed them putting on the ice and water. Well, we need to do a video that talks about ice
Sure.
and water, where it goes, what it's for. Then he had a video. In the video, you could see them putting on the starter shingles.
Right.
Well, let's talk about starter shingles.
Right.
Okay. And so we can go through all of the components. There's also a safety component to it in terms of how the guys are on the roof with their
Yeah.
ropes and harnesses and things like that.
Yeah.
So there's just so much stuff you can do to develop all these out. So what my goal is that over a year or two, that we'll have a fairly significant video library on almost every single thing we do
Right.
in all three companies.
Right.
When we get into Roof RX, we're building a chimney cricket and reflashing a chimney. We'll have a video that walks you through.
Right.
We had a couple examples this week. We'll get to our horror story of some situations with some valleys.
Okay.
So, we can go through and talk to people about what happens, why they're having the issues that they're having and things like that. I think when people can start to do that, we can organize those in such a way that someone has a particular problem or an area of their roof that's problematic. I think they could probably go to a video and get pretty good insights
Sure.
into what might be going on.
Right.
Number one, that's gonna confirm to them that they found a company that knows what they're doing to take care of their repair.
Right.
And number two, it's gonna kind of give them that peace of mind to be able to lead them to make that call or fill out that online request form. So that's kind of where we're going. So
All right.
Dion's been a big help with that.
Good. Good. He's earned his keep, is he?
Well,
He's in the process. process of learning
His
this
mama's probably listening, so I'll be careful about how I say it. But yeah, no, he is. He's a great kid. So,
Okay.
Anyway, lots of commercial stuff going on. Scotty has just got tons of opportunities in the commercial realm. I think I told you a few weeks ago he got his Hague
Right.
commercial designation,
Right.
that kind of stuff, working on some different things. Now, I do understand that the material availability situation in the commercial world is beginning to ease. It's not that we can absolutely place an order and go down and pick material up, but at least we can now place an order and have some reasonable expectation
Sure.
for a time frame in which doesn't mean the prices are coming down.
Right. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that'd be
Does not mean prices are coming down, okay? We're continuing to fight that battle, and as you can imagine right now with the price of gas, transportation costs, manufacturing costs, everything, it's crazy. I mean, I've got a product that I was paying $122, $124 for this early this year or late last year. I don't remember the exact date, and I'm now paying $162 to $165. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a pretty significant price
Yeah.
increase.
Yeah.
So we are definitely have that pricing pressure. OSB has settled down a little bit, coming back down a little bit.
Good.
So now I do expect, when the hurricanes start hitting and stuff like that,
Of course.
run
Yeah.
right back up again. So anyway.
Speaking of valleys, let's talk about the scary story, the segment that we like to call the title of this week's scary story, Myrtle, let's take a drive through the valley and I'll show you what's going on.
So it's funny. We've had several of these in the last few weeks with the soaking rains that we've
Yes.
had. But this particular situation, Myrtle called about a valley that was leaking.
Okay.
Okay. So, we went out and, until you take it apart, you don't know exactly what's
Of
going
course.
on.
Right.
But we had our suspicions. And I mean, this valley, literally you could go into the attic and you could see all the watermarks, the delamination, everything in the decking itself. And the roof was real spongy, but when you looked at the roof days after it quit raining, this valley is soaking wet.
Oh my.
Okay?
Oh
And so
my.
we're thinking, why is all this water staying in this valley? And we start taking it apart, and when we start taking it apart, there is one layer of 15-pound felt underlayment, okay? There's no ice and water,
Right.
okay? And there's no metal in that valley, okay? Even if we have what are called closed valleys, where what you see is the shingle,
Right.
and you don't see an open W valley made out of metal.
Right.
Even when you have a closed valley, our process is going to have galvanized metal, valley metal, underneath
Okay.
with ice and water, which is
Okay.
36 inches wide, which
Right.
is well outside
Sure.
the width of the valley. And then the shingles are going to be laid in, okay? Well, in this particular case, they didn't have ice and water, they didn't have valley metal, and they had a single layer of 15-pound felt.
Not enough protection.
This valley was literally saturated. When we took the shingles off, we took the shingles back a couple feet both directions so that we can get our ice and water and our metal and do everything the correct way. The decking was absolutely rotted.
Right.
Okay, so in addition to the ice and water and the metal, we had to replace, the length of that valley with new OSB, and then we had to go back in and relay her shingles and everything correctly, and she'll never have the problem again. But she has 4 other valleys on her house.
Of course. And then they're probably all the same.
They look the same. Just because she hasn't seen an indication of a leak inside her house, she chooses not to address that at this point in time, hoping that she'll get the roof replaced. Because quite honestly, again, our whole mentality about Roof RX is we want to deal with everything that we can deal with from a reasonable economic standpoint based on the expected life of your roof. Her roof needs to be replaced.
Okay.
Okay, she doesn't have a date of loss, can't be replaced right now.
Right.
So in her case, she's got two immediate issues. She's got this valley and she's got a chimney that's problematic. We'll take care of those two things to keep her out-of-pocket costs down to the bare minimum. Now, it's not to say next time it rains, she doesn't have us out there working on a different valley.
Exactly,
Okay, because
yeah.
what have we said before? This particular valley, there's a valley on the other side of this gable. Okay, and we've done one side of it now. We haven't done the other side. Well, what's to say that when we put that metal, that ice and water up above that point of intersection on the one side, that now that water doesn't just find its way down the other
Exactly,
side? So
yeah.
we'll see what happens.
So
but-
how could any customer, Myrtle, avoid a problem that that she had?
Well, I think the situation is that people don't really take ownership of, or maybe they don't have the knowledge as a layperson to be able to ask the right questions. Okay.
Okay.
I see people that have signed contracts with a roofing contractor that says install 40 squares of X shingle.
Right.
That's all it says.
Right.
It doesn't talk about how they're tearing off. Are they doing a clean deck tear off? It doesn't talk about deck repairs. It doesn't talk about ice and water. It doesn't talk about valley metal. It doesn't talk about drip edge. It doesn't talk about ventilation. All it says is X squares of shingles with a price on it.
And what you're describing would be what I've come to learn is called a statement of work.
Yeah.
Okay, it's specific line items of what all the various steps
Yeah.
are.
When we do this, and I could grab an example of it, but we have what we call a scope of work.
Scope of work, yeah.
Okay, and this is attached. This is signed by our clients, and it is attached to. It's not the contract, but is attached to the contract.
Okay.
And this is going to go through, and it's going to say that we're going to remove X squares of shingle.
Right.
Okay. It says that we're going to inspect their deck and repair.
Right.
If we cannot or have not quantified the amount of those repairs, that will be a change order that will be quantified at the time we're tearing off. We will let the owner know in advance what that additional cost is going to be. Talks about us going through and installing our metal and our ice and water and our drip edge and our starter shingles, our synthetic underlayment. Talks about pipe boots being replaced, about vent caps being replaced, about what kind of ventilation we're putting on, about what the hip and ridge accessories are. Everything is spelled out in infinite detail exactly how we're going to do it.
So it seems to me then that if the homeowner has a copy of this scope of work, that at any point during the process, they could go and talk to the project manager and say,
Wait a minute.
what step are you on here? What's this? And just check in just to make sure everything's being done.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
could.
and it just arms the homeowner with a little more information.
Well, it's like if there's verbiage on there about a clean deck tear off.
Right.
Okay. And you're out there and you're watching the guys and they're not removing the old underlayment, felt or synthetic, whatever it is, and they're starting to put another layer of underlayment over the top of that.
Right.
Then you need to be out there jumping up and down saying, wait a minute, how could you have inspected my deck to make sure that it's in good shape if you didn't even take that stuff that's covering up
Exactly.
off for me?
Exactly.
So that's kind of where you go with that.
Okay. And with that, we'll take our second break. We'll be back with Act 3 of Home Repair McRoof Style. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's Restoration Specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. And if you haven't figured it out, he knows a thing or two about roofing. Give us a call, 405-656-5868. If you have a home repair question, doesn't have to be about a roof, whatever problem you have, give us a call. This is the McRoof Radio Network.
Honoring America's warriors is an an Oklahoma City-based nonprofit that provides military honors and ceremonies, service dogs for disabled veterans, and multiple activities and events for the veteran and their family. When Honoring America's Warriors was established, our first sponsor and supporter was McRoof. Now, years later, McRoof and the McCullum family continue to provide financial support to Honoring America's Warriors' important programs. To learn more about our mission, go to honoringamericaswarriors.org. Go to honoringamericaswarriors.org today.
Rick, once again, the Roof RX Company is proud to present the Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctors, the prescription for your dark home. Our Solitude daylighting systems bring pure natural light to brighten even the darkest spaces and for a fraction of the cost of a traditional skylight. We can install your Solitude daylighting systems in about 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. We can prescribe and cure your dark home in 2 hours.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. The Daylight Doctor can remedy your dark kitchen, bathrooms, hallways, and you can take advantage of the 26% solar tax credit. Ask us how today. Visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483 to schedule your free house call.
Wow.
Get the doctor in your house. Again, visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483. Get the prescription and the cure today.
I'm Dustin Holtz, and I am McRoof. We're looking for the best talent in the roofing and restoration industries to join our team of solutions specialists. Hear what our customers have to say. Here's Johnny.
They were such pleasant young men, set my mind at ease. So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
Now here's John.
My hat's off to McRoof for making that happen when nobody else would touch it. You really made a difference in our lives.
And then Dean.
You really know your roofing business and you do quality work. But what sets you apart from other roofers is the people. You treated us just like family.
Want to sell shingles? Go work for another roofer. Want to change people's lives by providing quality solutions? Come join our team. Email me at dustin.holt@mcroof.us. dustin.holt@mcroof.us.
I'm Scotty McCollum, and I am McRoof. The qualities that every McRoof team member possesses are attention to detail, integrity, and a commitment to be an expert in our field. The goal of every McRoof project is to restore a home or business to the fullest extent, and in the process, we try to create a relationship as well as lasting peace of mind. We're not happy if you're not happy.
Replacement done right. McRoof.us, 855-766-3405. And Home Repair McRoof Style, back on the air for Act 3 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. We're taking your calls to 405-656-5868. This will be last call for your call as we start to wrap up the last quarter hour of the show. Hey, on this date in 1910, Igor Stravinsky, famous Russian composer, they premiered his ballet, The Firebird, in Paris on this date in 1910. Then in 1938,
a tisket, a tasket, a brown and yellow basket.
Miss Ella Fitzgerald hit #1 with A Tisket, a Tasket, with the Chick Webb Orchestra there. And then on this same date in 1966,
Paperback
the Beatles hit #1 with Paperback Writer. It stayed #1 for 2 weeks. All right, so there's your Beatles trivia for Saturday, June 25th.
Rick's happy
2020.
now.
Yeah, I'm happy now. There's more. Actually, there was a lot of this day in history. It was tough to choose everything.
Really?
There was just so much. There was even more Beatles, but I chose to leave it on the screen.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, you were talking about integrity.
Oh, well, in the vein of integrity in business, I know that in the first break there was a Roof RX commercial.
Correct.
Or a Roof RX spot. And
Yes.
I think that it referred, I may not have listened to the whole thing, but I think it said something about generally within a week.
Yes.
Now, what I should say.
We recorded that spot about a year ago.
Okay. Well, I think we recorded that spot when we were starting Roof RX.
Exactly, yeah.
And the good news is that Roof RX has built a lot of momentum over the last year.
Okay.
And we get a lot of things that are ending up as Roof RX calls and the need to go out and see folks. And we're probably, I'd say we do get to most folks within that week. But I think if Carly were sitting here, she'd go, Dad, I wish we wouldn't tell people that right now because we're stretching, okay?
Right.
And I will say this, I know that getting to you doesn't mean getting the repair done.
Right.
That means getting the inspection done.
Right.
Okay, so remember, Roof RX is inspect, repair, and maintain.
Right.
So the inspect part of it within a week and in emergencies sooner, that part's absolutely true. The part that we're concerned about now is the service standard for the actual repair.
Right.
Okay. And so I just don't want there to be any misunderstanding there. Now we're, even though Dion says it's a chance of storms this week, what I would say is that we're high and dry for the summer now,
right.
And with the few rare exceptions, we'll be cleaning this little bit of backlog up pretty quickly. Now, what I'll also say is that there are a whole bunch more of you out there who intended to call or said you were going to call, who need to call, who haven't called yet.
Ooh.
So I think, look at it like this. Look at it as if and I'm kind of stealing the thunder. We didn't play the music, but you want to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the stormy sounder.
Well, let's do that.
Yeah, that's the sound we may or may not hear a little
I
this
don't think we're going to hear a lot of that sound for the next little while. So anyway, the point being, consider storm season essentially is in the rearview mirror.
Right.
There'd be an anomaly there, possibly, sure. It's time to get out there and get that inspection done. And we've talked about this a number of times. A qualified roof inspection does not mean that you had a roofer get on your roof. A qualified roof inspection means that you had someone who is credentialed, who is qualified, who is trained in evaluating the situations and what's going on your roof, not somebody that's motivated to sell you something that you may or may not need.
Right.
So the whole point about Roof RX is a credentialed, qualified roof inspector. What you're going to get is you're going to get someone that has their credentials from the manufacturer. In our case, that's going to be from CertainTeed.
Right.
You're going to have someone who has storm restoration specialist training.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have someone who potentially has their Hague certifications to be able to evaluate the roofs from an engineering, from a functional damage standpoint. Or you're going to have someone potentially that has an adjuster's license who can look at it through the eyes of an adjuster for you before you ever have an adjuster come out.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about a qualified roof inspection.
And this person with the adjuster training, when that adjuster does come out, they can meet the adjuster and speak that adjuster language.
Well, all of my people, whether they're solution specialists with one of these credentials or not, all of my people who are responsible for hand-holding the relationship at the client level, they're qualified to be able to get on the roof or around the property with an adjuster and be able to speak to everything intelligently that's there. Now, they have the depth of knowledge of some of the people who are on my staff? Absolutely not. But they certainly have the ability to professionally, with integrity, represent my company and to be there on behalf of the insured, the client, the mutual client, when the adjuster does come out. That's what they're trained to do.
They speak insurance.
Yeah, and we had somebody that fussed at us about how we say that one time.
Oh,
Remember
really?
that? Yeah, remember? It was we had a caller called, and he fussed at us about how we
that's
said
right.
that. But anyway, we have folks who are qualified and competent to do that. But in the Roof RX world, that's not who you're necessarily going to get. In the Roof RX world, for this qualified inspection that you're looking for on your roof, you're going to get somebody who's got the credentials and stuff. They've got the alphabet behind their name, so to speak.
Good.
So, okay.
Good. Hey, I'd like to remind everybody that you don't have to be tuned into your car radio to be listening to us. You can hear us on any of your devices through the iHeartRadio or Odyssey apps. If you want to get to us on iHeartRadio, you open the app and go to KOKC and find us that way. On the Odyssey app, you go to KNSS, and you can find us that way. And like I said at the top of the show, we're live streaming on YouTube, and we have a Facebook page where we show the tool of the week. I also need to remind everybody that S&CM LLC is doing business as McRoof.us, and they legally operate under Kansas registration number 22-008700 and Oklahoma registration number 80000002. Registrations apply to residential and commercial roofing in both states.
Now, I've got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
What is that Oklahoma 0000 whatever 2? What does that mean?
That means that you're at the top of the list.
Huh.
As I understand it, there just happened to be some guy who didn't really know what he was doing that day. He was in line in front of you to register his roofing company. You were down there to be the first in line, and some guy just dumb luck happened to get there, as I recall, right?
Okay, so there was a 000001
for a while
at one point in time.
Yeah,
long gone.
I think that Chuck took his truck and went elsewhere.
long gone. So yeah.
So you're top of the list.
There you go.
It was. I mean, when you talk about integrity, I mean, it was important for you to be right there the day they opened that registration.
Also frustrating to me because I was in dialogue with them for months and months and months and said, the minute that this is available, that you have your paperwork, that you have everything that you need in order for someone to be registered.
Right.
I want to be there.
And this number is actually, correct me if I'm wrong, the Construction Industries Board.
That's correct.
Part of the state of Oklahoma,
That's correct.
And they don't necessarily license
Register.
They register roofers.
Yeah, the Construction Industries Board responsible for the registration of roofers. Roofers are required to be registered in the state. Anyone who is soliciting or performing commercial work is required to have a further endorsement, which requires a written test and examination endorsement by the Construction Industries Board.
Okay.
That is the requirement.
So just not anybody can go out and say, I'm a roofer.
Well, yeah, anybody can.
Well, yeah, they can, but not
Anybody can do
legally.
it, but not legally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in comply with the statutes. That's
Right.
correct. So,
Yeah.
anyway, it's there for the consumer's protection. I tell people all the time, and I had this conversation with a distributor the other day. We were talking about some of the frustrations about what goes on in particularly in the commercial side of our industry. And the number of people who are out there who are absolutely in violation of the statutes, and the real issue, Rick, I mean, the real problem, I think, is that the consumers are not educated enough and don't ask the right questions.
Right.
The consumers are not willing to pay the price to have someone who is legitimate, who has the additional amount of insurance required. insurance requirements are double, I believe, for the commercial guys than they are for the residential guys.
Okay.
So there's things like that. But the real issue is that consumers aren't willing to pay the price when they ask those questions,
Right.
okay? And they're willing to look the other way and take the lower price guy, and then they call companies like mine wanting to know what they can do now that everything has gone south.
Right.
And it just is, anyway, it's
Yeah.
But I was talking about this from a distributor standpoint, and I understand distributors are in the business to sell products.
Sure.
But why does a distributor knowingly sell product to someone who they know cannot legally install it in the state that they're doing business
Seems like
in?
there ought to be a law about that.
Well, there's not.
Hmm.
There's not. So, anyway.
Well.
So, hey, we were talking about shingles a little while ago.
Yeah.
Let me get, other than weight, we talked about weight of shingles. There's
Yeah.
some other considerations for shingles.
Okay.
There's something called a pull test, P-U-L-L, okay? That's how that shingle stays together, okay? Coverage is a consideration. There are different sizes of shingles.
Right.
So there are shingles that give you more coverage, okay? If you get more coverage out of a shingle, then theoretically, although this never happens in my world, theoretically the labor would be less. Okay, if that shingle's covering more
Sure.
with less, you see what I'm getting
Right,
at?
right.
Okay, count per bundle and the consistency of that. Check out the online reputation. Granule loss is a huge thing. We have people
Right.
called, especially after these big storms, people calling saying, I didn't think I had any granule left on my roof before these storms, but I sure don't think I have any left now because it's all on my driveway
Right.
or all laying in my gutters.
Right.
Sealant test, how well does that shingle seal? Okay.
Okay.
The adhesive.
Right.
And we've talked before about some of the proprietary things that CertainTeed has in terms of adhesive. Warranty issues, how do they handle their warranty claims? What is their reputation in terms of warranties and things like that? Contractor programs, education resources. I tell you, when I decided to be in the roofing business, I wanted to figure out a way to differentiate myself from everyone else. I wanted a manufacturing partner that would help me do that. And that's why after I researched everyone in the industry, my decision was clear. It was CertainTeed.
Right.
Okay, quality made certain, satisfaction guaranteed.
Yeah.
An education program that had teeth, not something where I could buy a credential.
Right.
The best warranties, the gold standard for warranties in the asphalt shingle industry. This is what I wanted for my consumers, was the best of the best. That's why we're a CertainTeed only company. So.
Okay. Hey, let me just quickly give a shout out to Carpenter Square Theater. Tonight on our YouTube channel, the Carpenter Square Theater YouTube channel, will be our last CST Live Online production for the foreseeable future.
Before you go live.
Yeah, because we're going to be opening here soon, but tonight it's a Fibber McGee and Molly.
Okay.
All right, at 7 o'clock,
All
live on YouTube. All right, Dad's Wisdom.
All right, you can't sell values to a man who doesn't have any.
Boy, isn't that the truth. I'd like to thank you all for listening to episode 223 of Home Repair McRoof Style on the McRoof Radio Network. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum.
Come celebrate the 4th of July with us this next weekend.
All right, that's next weekend? Oh, my
That's
goodness
right.
gracious. We'll see you all next week. Thanks a lot for being here.